Hey, I'm Dan, the training guy over here at Loxo with a quick overview of Loxo Jobs 2.0. We just rolled out some fabulous enhancements to the Jobs tab, so let's take a look. So we're looking at a typical job here in the Jobs tab, the DevOps engineer job over at Hulu, and you can see the pipeline here. The new tab is up here at the top, the Details tab, Job Details, next to the Pipeline tab. So when you click on Details, it opens up this beautiful view, and we're going to work our way through this new Details page. At the top, you can see quickly at a glance how many of your candidates are at each stage of the job pipeline. So you can see 3 candidates in the long list column, 4 in shortlist, 3 in outbound, 1 in screening, 1 in submitted for an interview, 1 in interviewing, and nobody so far has been hired. Now, notice below each of these metrics that we give you percentages so you can track the percentage of candidates that moved to each stage in this process. So all of the candidates were in the long list column at one point or another, as you can see, 100%. But of those, 77% made it to the shortlist column, and 46% made it to the outbound column. 23% of the total made it to the screening column. 15% were actually submitted for an interview. Of those, 8% were actually interviewed. And again, nobody so far has been hired. So that gives you a powerful insight to begin with. As we work our way down, next we give you 4 report metrics that you can load up here, and you're in control of what metrics are being displayed here. So we give you a drop down for each of these metrics here, and you can choose to track it by owner or by current stage, total candidates, where they were sourced from, compensation, days to fill, rejection reasons, rejection types, or current company. So if I choose, for example, current stage, it's going to basically mimic the data that I just showed you up top here. But if I choose source, for example, we can immediately see how many came from Loxo's source, how many were manually sourced by you, how many came from LinkedIn, how many came from Indeed, and so on, right? So you choose from the dropdown to decide what data point you want each of these little boxes up here, these metrics, to display. So here we're looking at by owner. So Jonathan has 5 candidates in the pipeline. Colin has 1, Jeff has 2, Matt has 2, and Taylor has 3, right? Current company, we can see where these candidates are coming from or where they currently work. So if I pivot to the various parts of this pie, I can see exactly where all these candidates are coming from in terms of the company they currently work for. And finally, over here on the right, I've chosen to display the average days to fill. So 45 days to fill is the metric here being displayed. So again, we give you 4 sort of metrics up here at the top that you can configure. So each time you open up the details tab, you get the view that you want. Below that, we'll give you sort of a mini outbound report. Now, again, we're looking at a demo account here, so I've got very limited data, but you can sort of visualize what this is going to be. So the outbound report is going to display how many of the candidates have been contacted so far, and of those, how many actually responded. Then we'll show you how many attempts to reach them did it take until they replied, and the average days until reply. And below that, we'll actually show you how many of the prospects or candidates in the pipeline do not have contact information so far. In this case, 40% do not have contact info. And just to the right of that, you can use the Fetch All Now button to have Loxo AI basically populate contact information, email addresses, and cell phone numbers using Loxo Connect. Below that, we have similarly to the outbound report, an inbound report. So this would be tracking the applications that are coming into this job. And again, we have very limited data here, but you can get the idea. So here, where it says undecided, these are the candidates that you have not yet made a decision about vis-a-vis their applications that have come in. And you can see yes, no, and maybe. So when you evaluate these incoming applications, you'll be choosing yes, no, or maybe, and that will be reflected here. Now below that as well, we have Loxo Boost, which is a fabulous new tool that we just rolled out. I encourage you to watch my overview training video about Loxo Boost. But if you're interested in turning Loxo Boost on right now, you would click right here and that would activate that fabulous feature to push your job listing out to many, many job boards and get those applications flowing in. Below that, as we scroll down, you have the internal notes box. So this is the box that you and your crew have at your disposal to add notes onto this job details or job profile page, if you want to think of it that way going forward. And as I talk about in the 101 training, it's unlimited documentation here. You can type as much as you want, and only people on your team are going to be able to see these notes. You don't have to worry about the client or the candidate seeing these notes that you're adding onto this job details page going forward. Below that, you can use the add button here to add attachments or documents or files, if you will, onto this job and attach them to this job details page. And finally, down here at the bottom, you can see what forms have been filled out so far vis-a-vis this job. And you can use the add button to access forms that you've created on your account related to this particular job. Now, up here at the upper right, if we scroll up, under role details, this is where you have the edit role button. So if you want to edit the details about the role itself, like the job or role title, the hiring company or the location for this job, and the time commitment, this is also where you can copy and paste in the full job description and where you will view that job description once it is added onto this job or role. And then finally, as we scroll down, you've got access to all of your custom fields. You can use the edit button to basically document anything about this job on the job details page that you wish related to these fields here. And you can also add tags onto this job here. And you can see I've tied it to the engineering tag here. And if I scroll down, finally at the lower right, you've got the billing box, which is related to deals. And you can use the link a deal button to link a deal in the deals tab to this particular job. A lot of our users have been clamoring for that functionality, the ability for jobs and deals to communicate, and that has now come to pass, which has delighted a lot of our users. Now, there's one other part about the details page that I want to point to, and that's up here at the upper right, and that is the client portal, this little sort of Lego icon here. When you click there, we've enhanced this as well. So you guys remember, again, from the 101 training, that we make it very easy for you to invite people to view the client portal by simply typing in their name or their email address here. And now just below that, you can also manage the owners of this job from your team, right? So right now, Jonathan is the main owner of this job, but if I want to add additional owners, I can do that very easily by simply typing in someone's name, like myself, and basically add me as an additional owner of this job. And I can also indicate, what their roles are. So maybe I'm the account manager and Jonathan is the main contact or the main owner working this job. You can sort of indicate that. So you can add as many owners onto this job as you wish. And by toggling to the portal settings, this is where, when you invite someone to view the client portal, you have control of what stages in the job pipeline that they are able to view. And we talk about this at length in the 101 training, but in terms of best practice, I typically never show them candidates at the front end of the job pipeline because these are people you're still sort of vetting, right? Typically, I tend to share those that you've submitted to the hiring manager already because you want them to obviously have those folks front of mind, but also people that they're currently interviewing and also people that they've recently rejected in case they change their mind and they want to pull them back into the mix, so to speak. So typically when I'm sharing the client portal view with a hiring manager, these are the 3 stages of the pipeline I tend to share. Again, I don't want to show them these folks because we're still sort of vetting or screening these candidates at this point. And I also don't need to show them, again, people that they've already hired because they've already hired them. So once you've configured what stages of the pipeline and who you're inviting, that allows them to have that access to the job pipeline, which I think is something that they absolutely flip out for. They love that. So I want to emphasize again that this is the first iteration of these enhancements to Jobs 2.0 that we're making. So look for some additional ones that are coming down the pike, and I will have another video looking at those additional enhancements when they are ready. All right, if you have questions about any of this, reach out to us down here at support. Use the chat button, the question mark button, and chat us up at support if you have questions or if you have feedback. We'd love to get your feedback on this new details page. We think that you're going to love it, but let us know, good, bad, or ugly, what you think about it. And thanks for taking a couple minutes out to watch this quick video about Jobs 2.0.